welcome to SveNFL.
What is up, y'all?
It's Jonathan Rollins
and Schif Musara.
Two Americans living in Sweden talking about bed bugs.
What? Yo, I don't want no bed bugs up in this motherfucker.
That's the talk of the town now. You heard about that, Paris? They got the bed bugs.
What?
It's like a bed bug infestation that's taken over Paris.
No those dirty motherfuckers. They never shower. Why am I surprised? They don't shower. The women don't shave their armpits.
Gotta do it.
They're walking around washing their business in the sink.
Yeah.
Every once in a while. That don't surprise me at all. Bed bugs.
They did there's this guy who's taking credit for all of it.
What do you mean?
He's saying that he organized this. He's like on 4chan. You probably heard of 4chan.
Yeah, I heard of
These weirdo incel types. And he's taking credit for it, saying that he's trying to tear down France through bed bugs.
Fucking idiot.
He's like, this the pest that'll never go away, and I'm going to cause so much financial pain and psychological terror through bed bugs.
Oh my god!
It could have been some made up shit. It's just, but the images are disgusting, bro.
That's
anyway,
crazy.
We actually started talking about bed bugs. Well, you know what? You know one creature that just seems to not go away, no matter how much you try to stomp it out. It's Justin Fields.
That's true.
Sergeant Segway, man. This week was a rough one on me. On Flip 'em and Pick 'em, you won 9-5.
Mm-hmm.
And it all began with one Washington Commanders not showing up against the Chicago Bears.
I mean
40-20 makes it sound worse than what it was.
Yeah, well, the Bears did what they've done this before, where they let a lead slip away.
Yep.
What were they?
Like
they
that
were
might happen. Yeah.
They were up 27-3 at the half, and then the Commanders started to climb back into it. But Justin Fields and DJ Moore were just not going to be denied. I mean, this was unbelievable stat line. Fields, standing in the pocket, delivering like they wanted him to. 282 yards, 4 touchdown passes. 3 of them went to DJ Moore, who had 10 targets, 8 catches for 230 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Insane.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
If you had him on your fantasy team, you were all good this week. If you had him on your fantasy team and you lost, there's something wrong with you.
That means Justin Fields threw the ball for 52 yards to other receivers.
Right.
And 42 of them were the Cole Kmet.
Yeah.
He only threw to 3 people. I mean, only 3 receptions. 3 people caught the ball.
Yeah, exactly.
It's inexcusable for Washington. You know what I mean? Like how they talked about in week 1 about Tyreek Hill, and they're like, just don't let this guy be the one to beat you. It's the same thing. If this dude, once you get 150, no more. Make Justin Fields have to adjust, but I guess
triple team him.
Triple team him. Yeah. See what else they got.
The big difference between these two teams is that, one team could run the ball and the other one couldn't. The Bears were still able to rush for 178 yards, and the Commanders only had 29 total rushing yards. So, I mean, once the Commanders got behind, they probably didn't really care too much about running the ball. They were out here slinging it.
Yeah.
So that makes some sense.
Yeah, it does.
But it kind of shows you, obviously, if you get that far into a hole, that's not where you want to be. And I don't know. I don't know if the Commanders just sort of took the Bears for granted, but Fields. I mean, they lost last week, but you add up his numbers from the past 2 weeks, and this guy is suddenly balling. And he did this last year too. Mm-hmm. It didn't result in wins, but he didn't
do this last year.
Well, I'm just saying that like around this time of the season, he started to become a better quarterback.
Oh, damn. I thought the stat line was a little better. 282 for 4 touchdowns is nice, but 15 for 29, you wanted to have better than that. That's got to be around, 55%, something like that. You know what I mean?
I mean, it's weird. I don't know what it must feel like to be a Bears fan, because obviously you feel good. You won 40-20.
Yeah.
But I still feel some very real question marks over whether or not Fields. I don't know if I was a Bears fan, I would feel like, yeah, this is the guy I want to be my quarterback.
No,
I don't know.
No.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. But yeah, that was the Thursday game, and we thought it was going to be a low scoring, defensive affair, and it was not. 60 points in that game. Then on Sunday, the London game. I don't know if anybody was listening, but I did do a Ken Patera.
I am so upset.
And I said, this was it. Traveling across the pond to a team that's been there for a week is probably the biggest disadvantage any team was going to have this week. Fuck a loud stadium. Fuck sitting in the heat. This is the toughest. And you can see the Buffalo. If this was a game of 5 periods, I think Buffalo wins it. Because it's like they finally shook off the jet lag at 4 p.m. our time or whatever. Or no, 5 p.m. our time. And it was just too late to finally get going. So the Jags, ran the clock out and won the game.
Yeah, I think jet lag is real. I think that was a pretty smart take on your part. Because as I sat and watched this game, I felt like probably pretty much everybody that I just expected the Bills to kind of come in and boat race the Jags. But they had such a hard time getting their offense going.
Yeah, they look lethargic.
They were one of the
was trying to give it to them.
Yep. I mean, Buffalo came into this game as one of the best run teams in the league, surprisingly, much better than they've been in recent years. I think my man, former Bulldog James Cook, was like the second or third or fourth best running back in the league. I mean, dude had 5 carries for -4 yards in this game.
Yeah.
I mean, they only had 29 total rushing yards.
Josh Allen was all over the place on defense.
Yeah, the Jaguars' Josh Allen was all over the Buffalo Josh Allen in this game. It wasn't quite as exciting as last year. You remember last year he had a sack, fumble, and an interception. I don't remember. It was some kind of crazy.
Yeah, he went nuts.
Like Josh Allen sacks Josh Allen.
But he was everywhere. They only recorded 1 tackle for him, but it seemed like he was on every play. He was all
for sure.
His presence
for
was
sure.
Fun.
And T-Law and his associates, man, he was out there carving up that Buffalo defense.
Yeah, slanging that thing. Yeah.
Buffalo's defense, coincidentally, has suffered a number of key injuries this year, and now they've lost
Milano.
Probably one of their best defensive players, I would
say. Probably one of the best linebackers in the league.
Yeah,
and he's one of my favorite linebackers in the league. It sucks that he's
I'm pretty sure I think actually I know he's gone for the year. I think he has a knee injury and a broken leg.
Damn.
From that play in this game. And the Jags, like you said, they had been there for a week. They took full advantage. T-Law. It felt like the Bills were playing a lot of zone coverage, and he was just, the receivers were finding those soft pockets to kind of settle in, and T-Law was just slicing through them like warm butter. Ridley had 122 yards on 7 catches.
It seemed like whenever it was third down, Ridley was going to make a catch.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. And Travis Etienne Jr. had a hell of a day. 26 carries for 136 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the one who fucking scored the game-winning touchdown, and also the run that pretty much kind of sealed the game and put them into victory formation. He was huge in this game. And Trevor Lawrence was good too. He when he he is turning out to be one of the better quarterbacks at avoiding sacks. Like the number of times the Bills were able to come at him, and he does this. Hip. Yeah, he does this little move where he where he turns his hip and ducks his shoulder, and the guy just like flows right off of him, and he steps up in the pocket and makes a play. He's pretty good at that.
He fell awkwardly a couple times.
Yeah, he did.
He hurt himself. I was like, ugh. But he limped it off, and then he never left the game. I didn't know that it was possible to do a victory formation. I didn't know it was possible. My team, my college team, chose not to do that. Got our first L. We could have had us a ACS. We could have had an ACS if Mario Cristobal would have just take a knee instead of trying to get fancy, fumble the ball, lose the game.
Yeah, instead of an absolute truckload of cum shots, Mario Cristobal was out here coming in his pants before he could even pull it out.
Yes. Yes.
Because my Falcons did it. They pulled it out 21-19 against the Houston Texans.
Yeah, man.
I got to say.
No doubt ever, right? No doubt.
Oh, no. I was like in full-on defeat mode, especially when and we got a next-gen stats.
Did you?
Window popped up, and both me and Isak were like, motherfucker.
Kiss of death.
Fuck you. But I'll say this. Again, week after week, I keep saying it, man, the Falcons defense, they just are not to be fucked with. You know what I mean? Like we were forcing them to kick field goals all day long. You know, the Texans didn't score their touchdown until very, very late in the fourth quarter. And probably for the first time this season, I can come on here and say that we won this game because of the quarterback, not in spite of him. I mean, had it not been for all those fumbles, I think we would have won this game easily. I don't think there would have been all this drama at the end.
Yeah.
But even still, that being said, with a minute and change left on the clock after the Texans finally score, and Ritter marches them down the field so that Younghoe Koo can kick the game-winning field goal, I'm like, this is definitely Ritter's best game of his career by far. He was 28 for 37, 329 yards and a touchdown pass. He also had a rushing touchdown, which is quite nice. Kyle Pitts for a leading receiver for the Falcons.
Yeah.
How long have we been waiting to say that?
Too long.
Drake London had a number of like really great contested catches. You could tell these guys were fucking pumped and ready for this game. I just thought it was an overall I thought for sure that we were trying to lose this game by fumbling.
We bet it. We bet it in our parlay that the Texans.
I thought for sure they were going to lose. Bijan had a fumble. Who else fumbled? Jonnu Smith had a really big fumble too. But every time we fumbled, the defense bailed us out and either forced them to punt or held them to only a field goal. This was a really impressive performance by Ritter and the Falcons defense. And they kind of humbled CJ Stroud a little bit.
Good, man.
It's funny. You remember my bold prediction where I said that based on the fact that he had been so disappointed having lost in that stadium to the Bulldogs. I saw an article yesterday where he said, damn, he's like, this stadium, that's twice now this stadium has done me dirty.
Hey, you knew it was going to be on his mind.
Yeah, he does not like playing in the A. I mean, yeah, I'm pleasantly surprised. But I'll say the same thing about Ritter that I would say about Fields. I'm not. I need to see it a little more before I'm convinced. We won a game that we easily could have lost, and I'm happy about that. But I'm still not 100% in on Ritter.
Are you 100% in on the Detroit Lions?
I'm like, is it possible to be 1,000% in on something?
On Mari for paternity tests.
I mean, these guys.
I'm in, man. Yeah, I'm in. Because
I feel
of
like
the defense, even though they gave up 24 to the Panthers, it was kind of a shootout. But that defense, man, Hutchinson is the real deal, man.
Agreed.
Even if he's not, he's adding pressure. He's adding stress to the quarterback's life. Always different moves. They look off balance every time they're trying to block him. I like that, and it seems like the team is feeding off of that energy from whatever side is on.
And that one-handed interception.
Oh yeah,
that was nice.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that part.
that was pretty nice. One-handed interception where Young is trying to just dump a check down to the running back, and he just reaches out with that big right hand that
little right arm.
With that short little arm and those big angry lion paws, and just hauled it in.
Yeah, man.
It was almost as good as Bijan Robinson's one-handed catch that he took to the house too. That was you saw that too. That was hot. Forgot to mention that. Anyway, Montgomery had another day, over 100 yards and a touchdown.
Yep.
They were without Amon-Ra St. Brown, which made us all a little nervous.
Yep.
But that did not really seem to matter so much. Partly because, Bryce Young, he throws 2 picks. Miles Sanders also lost a fumble. 3 turnovers in one game, and
yes, pretty much. Yeah.
And playing against a team like the Lions that has just a really, really fun offense. I mean, the touchdown pass to Sam Laporta was a thing of beauty. It was like a double reverse.
Yeah.
And then, flea flicker back to Goff. He hits Laporta in stride. Sam Laporta is having himself a hell of a year. This guy is definitely, even though he's a rookie, announcing that he is one of the best tight ends in the league.
Have you heard the comparisons of him to Gronk that are out there, been thrown around?
Oh yeah, for sure.
He wears the number too. So maybe he's inspired by the big guy.
I think there's going to be a bit of a tight end revolution.
A la Tony Gonzalez, Antonio Gates.
Because you got a lot of good rookie tight ends in the league this year, and next year you got my man, current Bulldog Brock Bowers, who's still playing for the Georgia Bulldogs, who is being compared to Travis Kelce already.
Oh wow! You think he'll be better than Kyle Pitts?
I think you and I could be better than Kyle Pitts at this point.
No, man, give him time.
Yeah, we'll see. But to your point, I think the Lions are for real.
Yeah.
I think they appear to have one of the best defenses in the league, as well as one of the best offensive lines in the league, which kind of gives you everything you need in order to operate and win football games. I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see them play what we think of as an elite team in the league, to see how that. I mean, they held up pretty good against the Chiefs, even though we think the Chiefs are a little wobbly this year. Chiefs. But yeah, that's true. Actually, they did. They beat the Chiefs. That's right.
Then we got sorry. I was moving on.
I feel like the 49ers are the measuring stick. We'll get to that later, but I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. The Lions, they got a ways to go to get there.
Yeah.
All right, then we got the division rivalry of the Colts and the Titans. My thing I took from this game, the Colts win 23-16. I thought the Titans would win, of course, and I was wrong. But this is the second game that Richardson goes out and Minshew seals the game. And this is also is this the 4th game Richardson's been injured in? Something like that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Haven't heard anybody call him fragile yet. I haven't heard calls for his retirement yet. He's had 2 concussions, injured shoulder. Interesting that when you're 6'7", you're getting treated differently than a 6-foot Hawaiian guy. Just throwing it out there. That's all I'm saying.
It's a fair point. The one note that I made related to Richardson is, the age-old saying, the bigger they come, the harder they fall.
Oof.
Part of being a good quarterback is being able to stay healthy and stay on the field.
The best ability is availability.
Correct. The other important part of this win is God bless Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
What a smart move it was to bring this guy in as your backup.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a more competent backup in the NFL than Gardner Minshew? I say not.
He's got to be the best backup.
And he gets to, because Richardson, by all reports, Richardson's going to miss some time here. His sprain, it's the same injury that Derek Carr had, who didn't miss any time, but apparently they're saying it's like a grade 3 sprain.
Like an AC sprain?
Yeah, so, and it's his throwing shoulder, of course. And when you saw him walking off the field, I mean, the dude, it was like his arm is just hanging there. He can't even move it.
Yeah.
This means that Gardner Minshew is going to be the starting quarterback moving forward, just in time for him to go up against his old squad, the Jacksonville Jaguars, next week. I am so here for it. That is going to be so much fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean,
what's up with Tennessee? Is that what you're going to ask?
They have some real issues with their offensive line. I mean, they have these two great Derrick Henry, we obviously know is quite good. Tajay Spears is really fun to watch as well. Yeah. He had a nice rushing touchdown in this game. And he is quietly kind of competing with Derrick Henry for snaps in almost every game they've played this season. But they just cannot run the ball, which has kind of been their bread and butter for years.
And it helps Tannehill because he's best on play action.
Exactly. That being said, DeAndre Hopkins probably had his best game of the year. He had 140 yards on 8 catches. He looked very good. But, and we also had the return of Jonathan Taylor in this game, which was interesting, but Zach Moss stole the show. They're obviously trying to work Taylor in. They don't want to give him too much of a workload right away. But Zach Moss had a career day.
Yes.
23 carries, 165 yards, and 2 touchdowns, man. The Tennessee Titans had no answer for Zach Moss.
And normally they're so sound on defense that keeps them in games. They only lost by a touchdown, though, but damn, that's crazy.
Yeah. It's this division is predicting this division right now is so.
The Colts are 3-2. Who saw that?
Before Sunday started, all 4 teams were sitting at 2-2.
Yeah.
And now it's the Colts and the Jags sitting at the top of this division, tied at 3-2. It's
I think the Jags are the number 3 seed right now in the AFC.
That's crazy.
Just under the Dolphins.
That's crazy. There was a game in Miami on Sunday. How did that go?
What? It was another relaxed Sunday. We forgot to, because the first home game, I had bought some bubbly so we could have a little toast to the team, and we never got to do it. It was the Denver game, too. So we didn't get to do our toast. So we said, all right, we know we'll get this victory. Let's do it at the beginning of this game, because the Denver game was such a blowout. You know what I mean? We just kind of like, this one, we did it before the game started. And Miami, they showed up on defense for once. Offense did what they could do. Tua had a couple blunders that resulted in basically almost all of the points of the Giants. He threw a pick 6, and he threw another pick that led to a field goal. So 10 of their 16 points came because of the offense. So that means they only scored 6 points on our defense, which is a good sign or a bad sign for the Giants. Good sign for my team, the Miami Dolphins. And Devon Achan went nuts and added to like the list keeps shifting of the fastest speeds recorded in the league so far. The top 6 are all Dolphins, but they just keep moving around because they keep running faster. And Tyreek Hill ran the fastest in the league on his run. He also got caught on that run too. But
wasn't it 22 miles an hour or something?
Yeah, over 22 miles per hour. And then Chan had 21 something.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's like there's a formation out there where there's a Chan, Hill, Waddle, and Mostert all on the field at the same time. Talk about a nightmare. And they kept talking about the defensive coordinator couldn't sleep. He said it. I couldn't sleep all week.
Yeah, that was fun. Yeah, that was Wink Martindale.
Yeah.
He said they asked him how do you scheme for that? He's like, I don't. I try. I think about it. I go to sleep. I wake up in the middle of the night, take a piss, and then I have nightmares while I'm trying to go back to sleep. He was very funny and honest about it at the same time. I mean, it's
the
crazy.
Giants look so bad, bro.
Giants are terrible. Daniel Jones got knocked out of this game with a neck injury.
Yeah.
Because he got absolutely clobbered from behind in the pocket.
By Van Ginkel.
And then they brought in the unluckiest quarterback in the history of the NFL, Tyrod Taylor, who whatever, he did what he did, but which was basically nothing. This team, the Giants, I mean, whatever. I didn't think they were that good last year, to be honest. I felt like they were.
Yeah.
I felt like they were a fake team, a little like the Vikings, which is also starting to show up this year as well. But that being said, without Saquon, this team has no identity whatsoever. And there's just nothing. There's nothing to be scared of as long as he's not on the field. I mean, because their receiver core is special.
Man, it's so weird. I was looking.
Yeah, because their receiving core is not special. It's not interesting. I don't know why they didn't. I don't know. I don't know what their salary cap situation was.
If you're gonna pay Daniel Jones, then it feels like surround him with stuff to justify it. But it's and then they're not even using him like we thought he was gonna be Josh Allen light. They didn't really. I didn't see any RPOs with him at all the whole game. I don't know, man. And they have $4 million in cap space right now, so it's not like they got a bunch to mess around with. I don't know. We'll see, man. This is not looking good for them.
The way they play, I just don't see them winning very many football games for the rest of the year.
It wasn't much to be no positive takeaways from that one, except for they took the ball away from Miami 3 times, and Mostert fumbled as well. The guy hit him right on the ball, but it went out of bounds. So, I mean, if the offense is not putting up points, I mean, if you win the turnover battle 3-0 and you lose the game 31-16, you got some issues, man.
Agreed.
Speaking of issues.
Yeah. Oh my God. That's a brilliant segue.
I take so much delight in the Patriots' downfall. I've been terrorized for 20 years, whatever. So sue me, all right? But they look so bad.
Yeah.
The regression that is Mac Jones's progress in the NFL is crazy. When it was the first season, we were like, heir apparent. He's heir apparent. They did it again. This was a Green Bay Packers-like find where Aaron Rodgers follows Favre, and we're going to have another 15 years of elite quarterback play. Then last year, they had a debacle, but we were like, you know what? We'll get a real offensive coordinator in here and bring Mac back. And he's officially Whack Jones, man.
100%. The level of dysfunction, and especially all of it on display in this game, where you can't score a single point against the New Orleans Saints. Mac Jones is 12 for 22, 110 yards, no touchdowns, 2 picks. He also fumbled the ball away. One of those picks was a pick 6. Or no, was the fumble? No, that was a pick 6.
Pick 6, yeah.
Yeah.
Great pick, too. Fingertips and everything.
Yeah. the empire is crumbling before our eyes, and it's like it's a beautiful thing to watch. I mean, normally it's hard for me usually to celebrate a Saints victory, but I'm not going to lie. As much as I dislike the Saints, the Patriots have certainly hurt me as a Falcons fan more than the Saints ever could. And this is brilliant. I don't know how you fix it. I don't know what's happened to this team.
Man.
I don't know if I'm so bold to say that it's just years of hubris and mismanagement that's finally coming back.
Yeah, paying
to
the
haunt
piper.
them.
Yeah. Because they had that year when they brought in those receivers and it didn't work out. When they did take a shot at it, and it was like, now they've done, and then nope, didn't work out with the Muhammad Sanu and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And now it's just like I don't know who are their receivers like, but then again, it falls on the quarterback. The Patriots are made for. They're supposed to be built to have, pedestrian guys out there that are in the system and look good, and it just looks like the system might be broken or something.
Yeah, you're right. The system is supposed to outweigh
elite talent.
The elite talent, but the problem is that you look up and down this roster. I mean, even in the days where that was true, where the system was supposed to outweigh the elite talent, they always had some elite talent. But you look at this roster and there's nobody. I mean, Ramondre Stevenson is supposed to be their lead back. He's been terrible all year.
Yeah.
Mac Jones hasn't been good.
You can stack the box because you're not worried about Mac Jones.
Yeah, exactly.
Like the way he looked so bad. He looked so bad. The missing, because sometimes people were schemed open, and he just missed them by 5 yards. And I'm just like, I don't know, man. I know it sounds weird as a fan of my team, but I really, as I'm watching him, I'm just
I was rooting for you. We were all rooting for you. How dare you?
I'm really actually rooting for him to do well, especially with the whole defensive coordinator being an offensive coordinator mixed with the special teams guy. You know what I mean? That whole debacle last year is like feeling bad for him on the sideline saying the short shit ain't working or whatever he said. But it just looks like it ain't him. He ain't it.
Mm-mm. No, he ain't it. I mean, I'm really fascinated to see how the rest of the season plays out as this debacle continues in New England. On the New Orleans side of the ball,
they played.
I mean, they also played football in this game. It's not like Derek Carr was all that good, but I guess he didn't really have to be that good because when you have that many turnovers to work with, you always got a short field. He threw a couple of touchdown passes. The most notable thing that happened in this game is that Alvin Kamara, with 80 yards and a touchdown, became the New Orleans Saints all-time touchdown leader.
Oh, wow. Congrats.
So congratulations to Alvin Kamara.
So he beat more than some guy up.
Yes.
He beat a record.
I don't remember who he beat, but it was...
Didn't he beat up some dude at a after party or some shit? That's why.
But I mean, I don't know who he beat in touchdowns. I saw who he beat in that bar in Las Vegas. That guy's face was like... He looked like the Elephant Man when he got done with him. Motherfucker was all
like, hit me again. All right, I'll take it.
He's like,
I'll take an ass whooping from a professional athlete to get paid.
Fuck your couch.
Yo, we had a comedian in town, right? That we brought from New York. And I was just talking to him about comedians. I know he knows so many people on the New York scene. And there's a guy, you probably recognize him if you see him, but he like hosts the Comedy Cellar, which is one of the most popular clubs in the world. His name's Artie Fuqua. And I asked about him. I was like, man, I love the way this guy performs. And he was like, yeah, he's rich as shit now. Do you remember when Tracy Morgan got in a car accident and almost died?
Yes.
Artie Fuqua was in the car as well. And one of their friends was in the car as well and died.
Damn.
The vehicle that like crushed them was a Walmart vehicle.
Oh, Lord.
Artie Fuqua received $90 million.
Wow.
It got $90 million from that car accident they lost their friend, and that's horrible, of course. I know he's been through some hardship as well with losing a child. He lost it, not in a car accident, but you know what I mean? Just like,
yeah.
But he said that he now like takes people on trips and stuff, like just living the good life now.
Damn, makes me want to go get hit by a Walmart.
Walmart, yeah. Go out there, road rage. Fuck you, Walmart driver. Oh my God. As long as I stay alive, man, I don't want to die in an accident.
Yeah, damn.
If I die, my family gets some money. But yeah, that was, Walmart wanted to shut that shit down. Here, take $90 million. That was him. And then the other people, they got money too. Tracy Morgan got paid, and there was one guy who went right back and like performed comedy like the next day or something. So he ended up getting like a couple million, like $3 million because he didn't like lay up in the hospital and all that shit.
Dumbass.
Exactly. Anyway, that's my side note.
Speaking of car accidents, the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers played football this weekend.
Sergeant Segway.
This game felt like a car accident.
Yeah, man.
Didn't it?
Yeah.
This was hard to watch.
Yeah.
It started out looking like the Ravens were just going to steamroll the Steelers. They looked good early. You never really thought the Steelers defense was going to be able to keep up with Lamar Jackson. But unfortunately for Lamar, his receivers could not hold on to the fucking football.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they said on the broadcast, this is the most drop passes in a game in like 2 or 3 years or something.
Any game?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy. Mark Andrews had a drop. Nelson Aguilar had just a guaranteed touchdown pass, hit him right in the hands, and he just dropped it. His receivers were letting him down the entire game. And they allowed the Steelers to kind of hang around. They allowed the defense to kind of get with it. They caused a couple of turnovers. I think they forced Lamar to fumble the ball a couple of times. Justice Hill also had a fumble that got turned over to the Steelers. And then before you knew it, the Steelers had the ball in their hands with just a little bit of time left on the clock. And we're in a pretty good position to win the football game.
Mm-hmm.
And there he was, my man, former Bulldog, George Pickens, turning out the lights in Baltimore, punching him in the mouth. You knew that was coming, didn't you?
Yes. I was ready. Let me go ahead and find this. Let me go ahead and find this.
Sorry, not sorry, but my man George Pickens was balling.
You see that stat line?
130 yards and a touchdown.
Man.
I mean, and then of course, how he got so wide open on the game-winning touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, I don't know who was covering him.
That's the thing they say about Baltimore, man. That secondary yeah. And they had an injury. Didn't they lose somebody in the secondary?
Marcus Peters, I think.
Okay.
Is he with them? I can't remember.
Somebody got hurt in the secondary. But, I mean, that's no excuse. You don't let somebody get behind you like that.
This is twice now this year where Baltimore has lost a game. They lost a game by basically beating themselves. The same thing when they lost to the Colts.
How many times did it happen last year?
It happened a lot last year too. They are that team. They're that team that can absolutely just send you to your grave, or they can come out there and just beat the shit out of themselves. I don't know how they do it. I don't know if it's the coaching. I mean, well, in this game, you can't blame all those drop passes on the coaching for this game. I'll say that. Sometimes it is Harbaugh, though. Sometimes it's Harbaugh. But today, those receivers, man, I can tell you what, they're going to be on the jugs machine all week this week. They're going to be firing at them 100 miles an hour. The Steelers had no business winning this football game.
I think it was Marlon Humphrey because Peters got traded.
Yeah, you're Humphrey. Right. Marlon Humphrey.
I knew it was damn. That's one of those teams because they're that old school style too. But I like both of those teams though, the Steelers and the Ravens. But that division, because of that Ravens loss, man, that division is kind of wide open.
Because the Ravens lost and the the Bengals won, which we'll get to later.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're still in it. They're still very much in it.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
The next game is the Eagles versus the Rams. I picked the Eagles to win, thankfully, because I was getting my ass handed to me all flip 'em pick 'em. And the Eagles, I mean, the Rams put up a fight like they've been doing all year.
Absolutely.
And, they look better than their record of 2-3, and the Eagles look worse than the record of 5-0. But
I would agree with that.
they are undefeated nonetheless.
It's true. Cooper Kupp was back. People were
Boy, was he.
worried that he was just going to be like a decoy. That was not the case. 8 receptions, 118 yards, no touchdowns. Puka Nacua, those other people were worried that Puka Nacua was going to suddenly become irrelevant. But that wasn't true either. He had 71 yards and a touchdown. Tutu Atwell had a nice touchdown grab. And they they really hung with the Eagles.
Yeah.
For the majority of the game. It was close, very close. But then in the end, the Eagles did just enough to kind of pull this one out, which, it's weird. They're 5-0, so that's real. But they've been less convincing.
Yeah. Jalen Hurts, though, man, he steps up when it's time.
Yeah.
Like, it felt like every time they needed a big play, he made it happen either with his arm or his legs. And they've perfected a tush push, of course. Every team has one now.
What's your take? A lot of people are saying, it should be banned. What's your take?
I mean, if it's for safety reasons, then of course I'm always siding for safety. But nobody's been hurt during it yet. I think if people started getting hurt, I saw in one play they did it, and the Rams were all offsides. It didn't even matter. It was like I think Greg Olsen might have called this game, because I love the way he calls games. But whoever it was like, well, they're all offsides. It didn't matter anyway. And it just I don't know, man. Somebody's gonna have to find a way. I think you might have to run around and like pull them if you can get, because their focus is right on the middle. I was trying to figure out a scheme to do it. I've seen people try to jump over the top, but if you come like an angle between the tackle and guard and like grab his waist and pull him, that might be the only way. Or hit the pusher somehow. But it's just hard to do with all that mess in front of you.
I mean, they did throw a stat up on the screen while they were talking about this, and how, when the Eagles run this play, they're like 95% successful. And when other teams in the league try to run this play, they're like 75 to 80% successful.
Yeah,
so it's like,
they were first, yeah.
So I'm like, I get that people are like, that's not football. It looks more like rugby. And it's like, well,
sometimes football look like rugby.
Well, it literally came from rugby. So
yeah.
I don't see what the big deal is. I agree. I agree. It's not like it's a sexy play. Unless you like your sex rough, but
it's not like they do it all the way down the field either. They do it when they get closer don't let them get close to the end zone. Don't let them get to 4th and 1.
Yeah.
And at some point, somebody will figure out a way around it. That always happens. The Wildcat looked like a crazy, new thing in the NFL, and then people figured it out 2 years later.
Yeah, I don't
people
have a problem
sprinkle
with
it in. I don't have a problem with it at all. I think defenses need to figure that shit out. You don't want us dancing in your end zone. Don't let us score a touchdown. As was stated by the Miami player in the U documentary. Somebody woke up in Cincinnati when or in Arizona, the Bengals played the Cardinals, and the Bengals put up 34 on the Cardinals, who've been feisty all year. And Joshua Dobbs came down to earth, and Joe Burrow came back to the stratosphere and started playing like what calf?
Mm.
And Chase and fucking Jamar Chase. Oh my God, goodness gracious.
Yeah, Joe Burrow looked more like Joe Burrow than he has all year.
Yeah.
Just even the eye test of just watching him maneuver in the pocket as the pressure started to come, you could tell he had said going into this game, I feel better than I felt all year, which you can't believe that until you see it. But you could tell from the way he was able to maneuver his way around the pocket. And, he Jamar Chase last week said, I'm always fucking open. And in this game, he was right. He had 19 targets, 15 catches.
19
for
targets is wow.
192 yards and 3 touchdowns.
That's wild.
He got the hat trick, baby.
It's like you got to go and, like we said it, you got to guard this guy.
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Yeah. And that one, the second one was the most beautiful one. That was the one that felt like, oh shit, if this is back, everybody's in trouble. Where Burrow drops back and hits Chase in stride. Just a beautiful rainbow pass right into a bucket for a 63-yard touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, that was like, shit, if that's back, AFC North is in trouble.
Look out. Back. Ravens better get their shit together.
Yeah. But again, the Cardinals, like you said, they've been feisty all year. They're playing a lot better
punching above their weight. Yeah.
Than anyone ever expected them to. And they were in this game until the fourth quarter. I mean, they were out here trying to match them blow for blow. They were coming at it. But then the big turning point in the game was actually Bengals had the ball in the red zone, and I think they turned the ball over on downs deep, like just 2 or 3 yards from the end zone. And 2 plays later, Dobbs threw a pick six right there at the goal line. And
talk about deflating.
Yeah, and then it was kind of all out, and then the Bengals put on another one, and it was over from there. Great win for the Bengals. Must be such a relief for the Bengals fans to see, because even the game that they won against the Rams, it's not like you felt like it's not like you left that game feeling like Joe Burrow was 100% healthy or looked all that great. But this was a dominant performance where it felt like everything was clicking on offense. The defense did what they needed to do to help win the game. This was their first complete win of the season, in my opinion.
I never thought about the calf muscle as much as I have this season. But, like, if you look at in the Jacksonville game, when they're over there massaging his calf muscle, T-Law.
Yep.
Massaging the calf muscle. I was like, wow, maybe the calf is a underrated body part.
I wish I had one of those funky little massage gun things when I pop my calf. I've popped my calf muscle twice, and it hurts like a motherfucker. Sucks.
I have one. If next time I'll let you borrow it. I got the little massage gun. Damn, I don't even know how to segue this one. Broncos, Jets. Broncos took another L. They're looking like the worst team in football. The Jets got a victory that's going to make people think they're good against a team that might be historically bad.
The Nate Hackett revenge game.
Yeah, they kept showing him. I get annoyed when they push these narratives so hard. It's like you might as well cut away to Taylor Swift again. So stop it, guys. We got Tom Brady warm up throw camera. It's like trying to stay busy, man. We get it, and we know that Nate Hackett is not the reason the Jets won. It's Sean Payton. Is the reason the Jets won. And Sean Payton is trying his best to blame this shit on Russell Wilson, who happens to be statistically one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league right now.
Yeah. And they also fumbled the ball away 3 times in this game.
Jets defense, man. They do that.
Jets defense was balling out. I read somewhere a few days ago, they were basically saying, Sean Payton came into the year and said, we're going to do everything the opposite that the Broncos did last year. And this analyst pointed out that he's actually right, because last year the offense was terrible, but the defense was good. And this year the offense is actually not that bad, and it's the defense that's terrible.
Like historically bad.
Yeah. They are like I think they are the worst defense in the NFL. I'm pretty sure, statistically speaking. And then if it's not like you even need to check the stats, you just lost a game to Zach Wilson, dude. You lost to Zach Wilson. Breece Hall had a really nice game. 22 carries, 177 yards, and a touchdown. He had one really long 72-yard run. And, again, with all those turnovers, you're working with a short field. You're just making the Jets' job easier. And as much as I think it's whatever. Narrative is narrative. But these Jets were ready for this game.
Yes.
You give them that much bulletin board material.
They circled it on the calendar in the training camp.
Yeah.
My question is, it's that time of the episode for a game show question. This is when one of us asks the other one a simple question on this Price is Right theme. My question for you, Skip, is who is the next person that Sean Payton will blame besides himself? He's already blamed Nathaniel Hackett. He's blamed Russell Wilson. Who's next in the blame game for Sean Payton?
It's got to be probably his defensive coordinator.
Yes, that's correct. It's going to be Vance Joseph. That's the leading candidate for the blame game is Vance Joseph. Thank you so much, Skip Massara. You win a new car.
Yes!
Brought to you by Brisket and Friends.
I love it. Brought to you by Brisket and Friends. The only car in the world that runs on barbecue sauce.
Yeah, man. It's starting to look like it's Sean Payton, man. It looks like you're the problem, bro.
It is also starting to look like the Denver Broncos might be the top candidate to move into yard sale mode.
Yeah.
Before the trade deadline, there are a lot of rumors. They already traded Randy Gregory earlier in the week, which we'll get to in the next episode. We'll talk about some trade stuff. But there's a lot of people suggesting that the Broncos might be better off if they take all the things that are worth something and start trading them for picks, because they ain't got no picks.
I'll take Surtain. Heir apparent to Xavier Howard.
If I don't know, there's a lot of people suggesting they need to just strip it down for parts.
You probably got to keep Surtain though.
Him, I think you keep, but they have a lot of things that Jerry Jeudy is frequently mentioned. Russell Wilson, of course.
Yeah,
Courtland Sutton. We'll see. This
interesting.
This rookie running back that the Broncos have is one of the few bright spots on the team. Jaleel McLaughlin. He's had a couple of good weeks. He's really fun to watch. He might be the only thing interesting about the Broncos at the moment.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was fun. Got a few games left. We can move on to what I thought might be an upset, but it turned out it was a close one. But Chiefs pulled it out. The Chiefs beat the Vikings 27-20, and this was one that you called correctly and flip them, pick them. Chiefs don't look like the Chiefs though.
No, they don't. But when you play,
it's kind of holding it down though.
When you play you know what? Their defense is actually, I think, probably one of the main reasons why they keep winning these football games.
Yeah.
And in this particular game, the one question that everybody wants answered is, can the Minnesota Vikings stop fumbling the football?
Bro,
has anyone fumbled? Has anyone fumbled more than Minnesota Vikings this year?
I don't
think
so. It can't be possible that anybody has more.
I haven't looked this up, but I feel like there's no way anyone's come close.
It's insane.
I don't get it. The Chiefs defense had a great performance. They bottled up the run. Alexander Mattison only had 26 yards on 8 carries. Kelsey got injured in this game and managed to find his way back and score a touchdown. Rashee Rice also had a touchdown. It's kind of weird the way the Chiefs piece these victories together. They're one of those teams that, and we obviously just talked about the Broncos, potentially going into yard sale mode. If I were the Chiefs, I'd be buyers. See if you can get your hands on a Jerry Jeudy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Imagine a guy like that. You think of him on the Broncos as being like, oh, he's kind of disappointing, but put him on the Chiefs and watch him like catch a 75-yard game-winning touchdown in the Super Bowl. You could just see it happening.
It's funny because it felt like the Chiefs scored, and I always yelled the player's name with a question mark. Ross. Who's Ross? I never heard of it. There's a Ross on the Chiefs. Yo, the fumbles in 2023, I just looked it up.
Yeah.
Jacksonville leads the league.
Oh, do they?
In fumbles, yeah.
Okay.
And it's 13 fumbles, followed by the Ravens with 12.
Oh, wow.
And a 3-way tie between the Browns, Vikings, and Dolphins. This must not be lost fumbles. But lost fumbles, Minnesota leads by far with 8.
See,
so
there we
Jacksonville fumbled 13 times, and they lost 5 of them.
Yeah,
so The Dolphins fumbled 10 times. They only lost 3. But it seems like the Vikings have such bad luck that they lost 80% of their fumbles. So the football gods are paying them back for all of those close victories last year.
And they're, and this year, every game they've lost has been, I think every game they've lost has been a 1-score game.
Yeah, it feels like it.
And they are 1-4.
Yeah.
And to make matters worse, and as of right now, I don't know how big of a problem this is, but Justin Jefferson left this game with a hamstring injury and might be missing some time in the future. So this team without Justin Jefferson,
they just not going to want that.
No, no. I don't know who the Vikings are.
Nah.
I don't know why I should be afraid of the Minnesota Vikings if he's not on the field.
Yeah. And their defense just isn't good enough to make it ugly. I mean, they held the Chiefs to 27. They've been okay, but their defense seems like at the end of the game, it's just like they just run out of gas. They start off nice, and then it's just like they don't have the personnel. So it's on Kirk, man. Earn that money. Last year, the contract.
Yeah. He's also rumored as a yard sale item. Kirk Cousins.
I think they're talking about the Jets, right?
Yeah. There was an Atlanta rumor as well.
That would be nice for y'all.
Yeah. I mean, again, the Chiefs, for whatever reason, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. I don't know if it's like the brain trust that runs that team that manages to keep them in the win column. Andy Reid and his staff, the way they just seem to win football games, regardless of whether they blow people out or whether they win by 7 points. It doesn't really seem to matter. They always just figure out a way to win football games. And then, of course, when you have Patrick Mahomes, it feels like you always have a chance.
Yeah, that's what they do.
So I don't know. The Chiefs will keep rolling, and the Vikings
keep rolling.
I think the Vikings are officially in panic mode.
Yeah, you got to be.
Yeah.
What about are the Dallas Cowboys in panic mode?
feel like the Dallas Cowboys are always in panic mode. Always out here trying to.
Line.
They're always up here trying to box above their weight class, acting like they're the best team in football. And then again, they came up against the measuring stick, and the measuring stick whooped that ass.
Pulled it out. Showed how big it is.
Dak Prescott, 14 for 24, 153 yards, 1 touchdown pass, 3 interceptions.
Man, how many does he have this year?
It's a good question.
I'm about to look at it.
Because he said, remember what he said before the season started?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
He said, it was very funny. He said, I'm not going to throw 10 interceptions this year. And I was like, well, that's a funny way to put it, because you could throw over that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That means that you could throw 14 or 15 or.
He's got 4 so far this year.
All right. Well, 6 more to go.
The 49ers are just rolling, man. All systems go. Brock Purdy looks like he really understands this offense, and he's distributing the ball well. He's moving around well, finding receivers. Their players are catching defenses off guard. Shanahan is in his bag. They just look primed to make it all the way. You know what I mean? They're really rolling. It's impressive.
Yeah.
And they steamrolled this good defense.
They have so many guys that can hurt you, and week after week, usually it's McCaffrey, and McCaffrey had a pretty average day by his standards, only 51 yards rushing. He still had a touchdown. He also had a fumble in the red zone. Some weeks it's Ayuk, some weeks it's Deebo Samuel, but this week it was George Kittle with this is what I call the perfect hat trick.
Yeah.
3 catches, 3 touchdowns.
Yeah. Nasty.
And he's sporting the "Fuck Dallas" t-shirt underneath his jersey and flashing it to the fans. He scores. Which he's going to get fined for that. But I guarantee you, I was laughing with Isak about this yesterday. He was like, "You think he's going to get fined for that?" And I said, "Dude, George Kittle has already taken $14,000 and set it aside on his bedside table before he even went to the game, because he already knew he was going to. He's like, I already took that money out. Where do you want me to send it?"
Yeah.
He's like, fuck it, I don't care. Yeah, I mean, what more can you say about the San Francisco 49ers after a performance like this? The narrative going into this game was that this would be a very juicy NFC title game matchup. At this point, I don't even see why that would be an interesting game at all if these two teams met in the NFC title game. Even with the dirty taste in your mouth of having, lost 42-10, I still wouldn't expect the Dallas Cowboys. Normally, I would say I hate it. When I hate to play the same team twice after we beat them if it's a team that I root for, because you're like, damn, they're going to be up for it. But I'm not scared of these Cowboys. Not even a little bit. Not
they
when
seem
it comes
soft,
to
right? Even though they have such a good defense, they feel soft. Normally, a team with that they have a different personality if they have a good defense. It seems so finesse.
And I refuse to believe that the loss of Trayvon Diggs is what's making the defense fall apart. It's not that. It's not that.
Nah, they have really good personnel on defense, more than just him. And they have Dan Quinn as a coordinator. So, but losing to Arizona and San Francisco, not a good look, man. I mean, San Francisco's understandable, but Arizona's the other loss. It's like you didn't get up for that game, and then you didn't get up for this game. 2 games that I don't know.
I mean, they just couldn't even really move the ball in this game.
No, and then the picks and all of that. Yeah.
I mean, the first down. San Francisco beat Dallas 25-8 in first downs. 421 total yards to 197. I mean, it's like it wasn't even a contest. I mean, they just straight up whooped that ass.
And the final game of the week, last night's game, was the Packers and the Raiders. And then underwhelming matchup that might have saved Josh McDaniels his job.
Yeah, maybe.
They held the Packers to 13 points. Packers have a pretty good defense, so I'm not surprised that the Raiders got 17 points. But it ended on an interception by Jordan Love, who threw 3 interceptions, came back down to earth, and went 16 for 30, 182 yards, 3 picks. And they kept that camera on him, that dejected face camera. You know, they always have during the game. He's just like, what have I done? And Jimmy Garoppolo, I feel underwhelmed by him. He's so much underneath stuff by him. They had only thrown the ball by the time the fourth quarter got around. They had only attempted a throw to Devontae Adams, one time. One attempt, and then he ended the game with 45 yards, 4 receptions. So
that is a little strange to me.
Yeah, come on, Josh McDaniels. But they were. I mean, it seemed like the focal point of the Packers was keeping the ball from them, and it seemed like the Raiders were trying to prove they can win without him. But in the end, they started going to him when they really needed to, and making their way downfield to pull it off.
I mean, to me, for the Packers, this again, when you don't have your best running back on the field, so Aaron Jones didn't play in this game, and then you have a quarterback like Jordan Love, who we have been starting to talk about as maybe he's not quite as good as he seemed to be. He's pretty. His accuracy rating is not that great.
Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah.
And if you can stack the box and just, give Jordan Love the chance to beat you, then chances are you're going to win the football game.
And he's kind of a gunslinger. Like he believes in himself, and he's going to try to fit it in there. And that's where it comes to bite him with the accuracy too. Because there was one, the defender was behind the receiver, but he kind of threw it behind the receiver right to the defender across the middle. It's like, ugh.
Yeah. And
the last pick that sealed the game, he had a lot of field in front of him. He could have run, but he decided to go for the big play. I do think that they got away with pass interference on that play, but it was just a dumb throw. So
yeah,
they
didn't really get away. The Raiders, I don't remember who it was, but he made a very, very smart horse collar tackle on Christian Watson that would have been a definite touchdown.
Yeah.
But he's like, fuck it, I'll take the flag.
Yep. It saved the game.
That probably won them the game right there.
Yeah, man. It was like, all right, we'll get half the distance to the goal from the 5, you know what I mean? And then they just ran, like they bunched the line. I didn't get it, man. I know that he's from the McVay tree, but you got to spread them out, I feel like, a little bit. But they had it bunched up with one receiver out and everybody else bunched in, and then they tried to run it right down the middle. The whole defense was right there. And then they tried to move Jordan Love at the end on the third down, and it didn't work out, man. So it turned out to be a really smart penalty.
Yeah. And now the Raiders are 2-3.
Mm-hmm.
And then they're going into their game next week against the Patriots.
Oof. Josh McDaniels wins those. He's good up against Belichick. Another Belichick understudy.
That's going to be an interesting one.
Yeah, that will. And the Patriots lost their 2 best defensive players.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not. They might get Caleb Williams while we're bullshitting. It's in the cards.
I bet he would go there.
I know, right?
He's already said he doesn't want to go to a bunch of teams, but I bet he wouldn't pass up a chance to play with Belichick, I think.
It won't be that long with Belichick.
We'll see if he survives the year.
I know, right? All right. Superlatives, man. That's all the games for this week. It's time to move on to superlatives. Who's your real MVP?
I'm going to go with Justin Fields.
Ooh.
The last 2 games, Justin Fields has thrown for over 600 yards and 8 touchdown passes.
Wow.
They wanted this guy to... They wanted this guy to stand in the pocket and throw the rock, and he's doing it.
Yeah.
You know, they won one of those games and lost the other one, but this, I mean, if this trend continues,
yeah,
I gotta say, we've been hard on him since the beginning of the year, but in the last 2 weeks, he's showing that he can do this, even on a pretty bad football team. I got to give him some flowers this week. I hope to see him do it more.
You the real MVP.
Mine is one of the hat trick players of the week, Jamar Chase, man. He said he's always open, and he fucking proved it by torching the Cardinals for 3 touchdowns, 15 receptions on 19 targets, and 192 yards. I mean, there's not much more to say. He made Joe Burrow look more comfortable than he's looked all year, and did what he did a couple years ago when he took the lead by storm. So he reminded us who he is and who the Bengals can be once they're 100%. So I got to say, Jamar Chase.
You the real MVP.
Nice.
My trash. I was going to go with back-to-back trash for the first time in the history of this podcast.
Really? Would that be true?
I don't know.
I feel like we must have gone back-to-back on Urban Meyer during his tenure.
That's a good point. Good point. At least, if you got it, I got it the next week. It had to be something like that. But one that stands out of me, I don't remember personally giving somebody 2 in a row, but it was going to be Mac Jones with back-to-back trash performance. But this week, it's the entire New England Patriots team. Mac might just be a bottom 5 quarterback in the NFL. I predicted before this last game that we would see Zappy in this game for the second game in a row, by the way. And we did. Bailey Zappi finished the game with Mac Jones sitting on the bench, looking dejected and sad like he does, and pouty. Thanks to ticket scalpers and improvements in the home viewing experience, home field advantage has recently been considered a thing of the past. Only a few teams hold on to an actual advantage these days, with Buffalo and Green Bay having such a strong tradition, Seattle and Miami having advantages due to stadium makeup. But for a long time, New England was one of the hardest teams to beat at home. Do you remember when they won 20 home games in a row when Tom Brady was there?
Wow.
You would have thought that they wouldn't lose a home game until Bill Belichick was long retired and wearing a yellow jacket. Losing at home is one thing, but they're 0-3 at home already this season and just got blanked by a Saints team that ain't really keeping coordinators up at night. My, how the mighty have fallen. And this week, I have to say, the New England Patriots as an organization.
You are trash!
Yeah, we have the same trash this week.
Oh, yeah?
I don't really have much to add. Normally, I would say this brings me no joy, but in this case, I would be lying because watching the New England Patriots go from treasure to trash is probably the best part of the 2023 season so far. It's just been really great to watch them malfunction on every level possible. Offense, defense, special teams, you name it.
Yeah.
They're trash up and down the board. It's great. I love it. Fuck the Patriots.
You are trash!
All right. Shit got learned. You want to go or you want me to
go? You can go.
All right. My shit got learned is kind of related. My shit got learned is maybe it's been the quarterbacks all along. We've seen legends leaving the game lately. Guys like Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, and Drew Brees all retired with all their flowers and will all be Hall of Famers. Aaron Rodgers left his team after years of success to fill out his illustrious career in New York. 2 of those guys I named are connected at the hip to legendary coaches in Sean Payton and Bill Belichick. Both were and are considered geniuses, but neither of them found that same level of success without their generational talents at quarterback. Belichick was 36-44 in Cleveland. That's a 45% winning percentage. Post Brady with New England, he's 26-29. It's a 47% winning percentage. Is this going to be the same case with Sean Payton? His last season with Drew Brees, he won 9 games, and now he's in total 10-15 is his record without Drew Brees. That's 40. That's 40%. Nathaniel Hackett was supposed to be Aaron Rodgers' guy. Adam Gase was Peyton Manning's guy. In the end, it seems like it just might be generational quarterbacks that are making the difference after all.
I feel like I learned some shit. That was good. I like that.
Thanks.
I learned something pretty interesting. I learned this listening to the Ringer fantasy podcast the other day. If you combine the Russell Wilson and Sean Payton trades, Russ cost the Broncos 2 first-round picks, 2 second-round picks, plus $160 million guaranteed. Year 1 of that sucked so bad that they had to trade another first-round pick and another second-round pick to get Sean Payton, paying him $17 million a year for 6 years. So that's another $80 million. You add all of this up, and the Broncos have spent $250 million guaranteed. 3 first-round picks plus 3 second-round picks. And the only thing they have to show for it is becoming literally the worst team in the AFC, ranked dead last.
There's a lot of bad football from what I watch.
That's some fucked up shit.
Yeah, man, that's insane. That is insane. I learned something. Shit.
3 first rounders, 3 second rounders.
Wow.
$250 million to be the worst team in the AFC. That is
maybe the worst
up.
in the NFL. Maybe the worst in the NFL, yeah.
That is so fucked up.
Wow.
I was listening to that on the Ringer podcast, and I literally had to rewind it to make sure I heard it correctly. I was like, what?
That's wild. All right. Who's your scariest AFC team?
The AFC feels so weird right now. I mean, the Dolphins get a huge win a couple of weeks ago, so we crown them.
Yep.
And then they get curb stomped by the Bills, and then the Bills turn around and lose to the Jags in London, and then the Dolphins bounce back and beat the doors off the Giants. Meanwhile, the Chiefs keep winning games in very weird, underwhelming fashion. But because of how we think of them, they always feel really dangerous, even though they don't look that dangerous. But I'm going to say the Dolphins, I guess, question mark.
All right.
Yeah.
I had to go with the Chiefs, man. When they just keep winning and scoring with random players, it feels like more of a what's it called? A symptom of the system than an advantage built by speed. Like the Dolphins are just they're just so fast they're gonna outrace you. The Chiefs feel like they're just so fucking good that they're gonna beat you no matter what. So that's why I'm going with the Chiefs. But Dolphins are a bit scary in that they might embarrass you.
Sure. Yeah.
Scariest NFC team, we both are gonna say the 49ers. I mean, they're the best team in the NFL right now, head and shoulders above the rest. Shout out to Brock Purdy, man. So happy for that guy.
Agreed. I mean, barring injuries, it makes no sense for them to not win the Super Bowl at this point. I just don't. I feel like you could go ahead and just mark it.
Yeah, that's how it's feeling.
They're so good.
That was my pick, too. And there is a bet out there for that. Before the season. It's been 2 years in a row. It's been 2 years in a row that John Stradamus called the Super Bowl winner.
My Shanahan feelings just can't let me make that bet.
I get it. All right. Well, that's it, man. We'll be back soon.
We gotta put some spec on some names.
Oh, shit. I'm sorry. My bad. I got one, too.
Who you got?
I got Justin Fields, man. For the same reason that you had him as an MVP, man. He's finally not the reason that his team lost. He came out and he did his thing. He threw for 4 touchdowns. I don't know if he's done that before. And then he's staying in the pocket. He seems to be really like coming along. So for Justin Fields, he go ahead and tell everybody.
Put some respect on my name.
Mine is fulfilling a promise to my son, Isak. Mm-hmm. I've been very hard on Desmond Ridder. And to be clear, I'm not 100% convinced that he's the guy, but I do feel like this week's performance deserves to have a little speck put on his name. 28 for 37, 329 yards, passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown, no picks. Him, along with the defense, are absolutely the reason why the Falcons won that game. He overcame a poor run game performance, which, the Falcons are not supposed to be able to win without their run game. Plus, we had 2 promising drives killed by fumbles. Yeah. But in the clutch, Ridder put the team on his back, and the Falcons won this game because of Desmond Ridder rather than despite him. I need a little more consistency, but given that, I've been talking a lot of shit about this guy. He comes out and he plays the best game as a pro yet. I got to put some spec on his name.
Put some respect on my name.
All right. Well, that was it, man. Week 5's in the books. And we're going to get on out of here. We're going to be back pretty soon. It says another episode of SveNFL. We'll be back to talk about the Week 6 matchups. And we're going to make some bets, too, for those of you that are following us on Patreon. You can follow our journey at patreon.com/SveNFL. It has been Jonathan Rollins,
Schif Misara,
and SveNFL. We'll catch y'all later. Peace.
Later, y'all.